Alright, let's dive into something that's been buzzing in the music world lately. BTS boycotting the Grammys. But here's the twist, I'm not just here to tell you what happened. I'm here to unpack why this move is so much bigger than just a boycott. It's about power, identity, and the future of global music. First off, let's address the elephant in the room, BTS' decision to skip the Grammys this year. Personally, I think what makes this really interesting is why they did it. They're not just saying, we don't want to be part of this. They're saying, we don't want to be boxed into a category that feels like a consolation prize. The new Best Asian Pop Music Performance category? It's supposed to be inclusive, but in my opinion, it comes off as a way to sidestep the real issue. Why aren't Asian artists getting recognized in the general categories? If you take a step back and think about it, this isn't just about BTS. It's about every artist who's been pigeonholed because of where they're from. Now, let's talk about the message itself. BTS posted their statement in Korean, not English. One thing that immediately stands out is the intentionality behind that choice. It's a statement of pride, a refusal to conform to Western expectations. What many people don't realize is that this isn't just a language choice, it's a cultural one. They're saying, we're not here to fit into your narrative. We're here to redefine it. And that, my friends, is powerful. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. BTS' decision hasn't sparked a mass movement among other artists. Why? Well, from my perspective, BTS occupies a unique space in the industry. They're not just a K-pop group, they're a global phenomenon with the clout to make this kind of stand without fearing backlash. Other artists? Not so much. As Hyejin Lee pointed out, BTS has reached a point where they don't need Western validation. But for up-and-coming artists, the Grammys might still feel like a necessary stepping stone. This raises a deeper question. Can true change happen if only the biggest names take a stand? What this really suggests is that the music industry still has a long way to go in terms of inclusivity. The Grammys' response, that the new category is about celebrating diversity, feels like a band-aid on a bullet wound. Sleep D's hit the nail on the head when he said recognition matters, but impartial inclusion matters more. Why create a separate category based on geography? Shouldn't music be judged on its merit, not its origin? If you ask me, the goal should be for artists from any part of the world to compete on the same playing field. Anything less feels like tokenism. And let's not forget the historical context here. Remember when the Grammys created the hard rock/metal category and gave it to Jethro Tull instead of Metallica? It's almost laughable, but it's also telling. The Grammys have a history of misreading the room, and this feels like another chapter in that story. Asia isn't a genre, it's a continent with thousands of years of diverse musical traditions. Lumping it all into one category? That's not inclusion, that's oversimplification. So, where does this leave us? Personally, I think BTS boycott is a wake-up call. It's forcing us to ask tough questions about how we define success, how we recognize talent, and how we value diversity. Will other artists follow their lead? Maybe not immediately, but I think this conversation is just getting started. What makes this really interesting is that BTS isn't just challenging the Grammys, they're challenging the entire industry to do better. Here's my closing thought. Music is universal, but the systems that reward it? Not so much. BTS' decision isn't just about them. It's about every artist who's ever felt marginalized. And if you ask me, that's a movement worth paying attention to. So, what do you think? Is BTS boycott a game changer or just a blip in the radar? Let me know in the comments. I'm all ears.